Hello and welcome back, any continuing listeners. Thank you for coming back and listening again. For anybody who's listening for the first time, my name is Hardiel Pinto, and I am the owner of a small distribution company called Pulp Serial, where I distribute movie serials and different movies and TV shows inspired by Pulp Fiction works. This is my podcast known as One on One, where I take people that I admire on social media and I force them to be my friend for a half an hour. Today, I have an extremely talented person who sings, plays guitar, paints, writes. She can kind of do anything. You want to
Oh,
say hello?
hello. It made me sound so multi-talented.
Well, you are. Every time you're posting something on Twitter, it's always like I painted this, or I'm singing this, or I wrote this, and then I mean, you really are a multi-talented person.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad to see that some people are looking at all the I just do too many things, I think. But hey.
But I mean, again, when you do them all well, I mean, I don't know. That's not a problem to me.
I mean, there's certain things that I feel I could improve on, but yeah.
So how are you doing today?
I'm okay, actually. Yeah, I actually did a bit of recording myself today, so that was
yeah,
fun.
you were doing a video review, right?
Yes, I was doing a review for Spider-Man Far From Home, which I probably should have seen a long time ago, but I've been catching up on lots of stuff. So yeah, and learning how to use Adobe Premiere as well. So that's all fun. But no, I'm really enjoying doing the video stuff. I find it a lot easier to talk than write, actually. So
Yeah, sometimes it's just easier to just get started with talking than with writing. You
yeah,
just have
I
to
find I
jump
get too
in.
bogged down in like kind of trying to make it sound like a really good review, whereas when I can just talk about it, I don't know, it just feels more natural.
Yeah. The funny thing is I still haven't seen the new Spider-Man movie yet. I keep forgetting that there's a new Spider-Man movie in theaters.
Yeah, it's one of those ones like I love Spider. Like, I mean, you'll see in the video I say I love Spider-Man a lot because I do. But I think after like Endgame, it's all just been a bit. I don't know, but it feels like so long since that happened, but at the same time, it doesn't. So it's just one of those bizarre things. And there's so much stuff out at the moment as well that it's, yeah.
Exactly, especially when like 80% of the stuff in theaters is all Disney. It feels a little overwhelming at the moment.
Oh God, yeah. I didn't even think about that because Lion King came out 19th, was it?
I think so.
I
Yeah,
think.
last
Yeah,
Friday that came out. I think
yeah.
Aladdin's still out in
Oh
places, and
gosh.
of course Endgame is still out in certain theaters, and
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and just all that kind of stuff.
I mean, they still have, for some bizarre reason, I haven't actually seen it yet, but they've still got Dumbo playing at my local theatre every so often.
Oh,
They just have a
really?
random screening of Dumbo. I'm like,
Well,
why?
that's really
They must
weird.
really love it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's already on DVD over here.
That's
So
it.
that,
That's hilarious.
yeah, that came out of theaters pretty quickly in the
Yeah,
US.
I haven't actually seen it yet, but
I I have no plans to see it. I'm good. I'm
I mean,
good.
it was one of those ones that I didn't. It was kind of like a surprise. I didn't even realize it was coming out, and then it was like, bam, Tim Burton's doing a Dumbo film. I was like, oh, okay, fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like a lot of Americans, I'm gonna kind of pass on that one.
Yeah,
Because I mean a lot of people definitely relate Dumbo to depressing feelings and
yeah. I can't. I genuinely cannot remember. I think my grandma had it on video. Um, so do you call is it video? No, VHS. Sorry. And I cannot remember any of it apart from when Dumbo was crying. So yeah, super depressing.
exactly, because I don't remember it much either. I mean, I remember watching it when I was a kid, but I don't really remember much about it. But every time I see a clip, it's either like yeah, him crying or like his mom in a cage. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to watch that. No,
Yeah,
thank you.
just what you want for happy kids afternoon movie.
Exactly, because my sister and my brother-in-law went to go see it because they're huge Disney people,
Yeah.
and they went to go see it because my sister loves Dumbo, and she said that there were like children in there like halfway through, like literally asking their grandma if they could just go home.
Oh no.
Yeah, they were just bored. They were like, "Can we just go
Oh
home now,
no.
please?"
Oh, poor kids. That's upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because that movie I think is like what almost 2 hours long, right?
Oh
So
my god. That's mad.
yeah, I think it's like an hour, 45, hour 50, something like that, like way longer than the original. I think the original was
Wow.
like just over an hour. So when you have a slow movie that's like that long,
Mhm.
kids aren't going to want to pay attention to that.
No. I mean, that was my issue with Beauty and the Beast. I actually turned that off at Be Our Guest because I was like, I think there was an hour left of it. I was like, oh my god, I can't do any more of this. It's awful. I couldn't handle it at all. And then I think we put on the original one because I was like, I just want to watch the original. Really, that's all these are making me want to do.
Yeah, because I actually revisited the original recently because my sister made me watch it, and I really like it. It's a nice tight 80 minutes. It's a good story,
Oh,
but
it's great.
but again, I can't. I don't know. I don't. She keeps trying to make me watch the remake because she really liked it, but I don't know if I really want to sit down for 2 hours and
No,
watch a
don't.
retelling of a story that I already like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, don't do it. Do not do it. We actually went to it was a kind of live sing along of the original in London a couple of weeks back, and that was fun. That was so much fun. They had balloons and confetti, and oh, it was great.
Oh, that's really cool. But
Yeah.
because we're around a similar age, if I remember correctly, because I'm 27. Uh,
Yeah, I'm
Okay, so
26.
I
Yeah.
have noticed recently because I've been revisiting the Disney Renaissance movies a lot because my sister
Mm,
wants me to watch them, and I noticed that like when we were kids, kids movies were a lot shorter. Like Lilo and Stitch is like an hour and 10 minutes. Like a lot of these
yeah.
Disney movies are like 70 to 80 minutes, but now
Mm,
kids movies nowadays are like an hour 45, close to two
yeah.
hours, and it's just
It's like
kind of
how they're
funny.
gonna. Sorry, carry on.
No, 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 go on, go on.
I was gonna say how they're gonna concentrate. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, I can barely concentrate on like really long films now, to the point where if it has to be, it has to like grab me. And I also have to be in a cinema because I find I just have so many distractions at home. Like my phone, I do crochet. So like we've started doing a thing where I actually buy popcorn and we turn all the lights off in the living room and just sit and watch a film. So I just can't get distracted because I'm so bad for it. And it's quite bad for someone who, reviews and films and stuff. So, oh,
I'm sadly the same way. I mean, I don't feel as bad when it's a movie I've seen before, because
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
yeah, but like when it's a newer movie, like or something I'm watching for the first time, I try to restrain myself from my phone because I do
Mm.
keep getting notifications from Twitter a lot.
So, but I think I think it is a thing now anyway. I think a lot of people do it. And I guess it is changing how we're watching things, really. It's got quite depressing.
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, again, it's just about self-restraint, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I try. And I mean, because there are even times like last night I got home from work after midnight. And before work, I had started watching Once Upon a Time in America, which is almost 4 hours long. It's a really long movie.
Oh,
And so I had to watch the first 80 minutes before work, but then like I could tell that I wasn't able to concentrate on the last night because it was like 1 in the
yeah.
morning, and so I only
Oh,
watched like 30 minutes of it, and then I had to stop it out of respect for the movie. I was like, I need to be able to watch this at a time when I can
yeah.
focus because I'm just too tired from work right now.
Oh, I do that. Like, I mean, what was it? My parents, I was back at home a few weeks ago and I'd been chatting to them so much about Into the Spider-Verse. And so they bought it, bless them. And they'd been at work and we sat down in an evening and watched it. And within the first half an hour, I think they both fell asleep. I was like, no. I was like, I was so excited to show it to them, and they are so bad for doing that. because I'm like, oh right, we need to watch this film. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. And then they're both asleep and just miss all of the film. And I'm just sat there like I could have just watched this on my own.
Yeah, I think that's one of those movies that you kind of do need to see it theatrically. I'm glad we were able to see it
Oh
theatrically
yes,
because
yes.
definitely we were really captivated in the theater, but I bought it like instantly right when it went on
Mm,
sale digitally,
mm.
and we tried watching it at home, and then of course we kept getting distracted by things.
I really want to get like a big projector for home actually, because there's so many films that I actually miss at the cinema, which I really shouldn't. Um, I think I missed Godzilla, and I know it's like not meant to be the best, story, but I just want to see some monsters just fight each other on a massive screen. But I missed it, so I just don't think it'll have the same impact on my. I think we've got like a 35-inch telly, so yeah, not quite the same effect, I don't think.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We only have a 32-inch TV at my house, and it's
Oh, I think it's 32. I don't know.
yeah, because I
TV's
don't know if they make 35-inch TVs.
like, well, they could.
Maybe I don't know. The dimensions would just be weird for the.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's just me making that. I just pulled a number out of thin air there. I don't know anything about TVs. Oh,
But
dear me.
but yeah, because I also do have a projector at home with a rear projection screen, which is about
Oh,
55 inches. But the only problem is just we have a small house, so it's not always
yeah,
easy to set up because there's like other people's stuff like
yeah.
around. And sometimes it's really great because I do love watching on that big of a screen. But at the same time, sometimes it just doesn't feel worth it. I'm like, I'm tired. I don't feel like setting this all up.
No, I can imagine. I mean, we haven't got one because we, like you said, there is no space to put it. Like I just don't know where I put it. We've got a tiny little, like, teeny tiny little flat. So maybe one day. I really
I
want
mean,
like a cinema room one day,
yes, I definitely that's my life
though.
goal is to
Dream.
have a theater room.
Yeah. Oh, is that when it on was it MTV Cribs? And they'd always be like,
Ye-
"Oh, and here's my cinema room." Oh, yes. Maybe
Yeah,
not that big.
exactly. I mean, because there are like portable projectors. Like that's what I have.
Yeah.
Because there are sometimes because I have two different screens. I have like a little 50-inch one that you could just set up on the floor that I do when I like want to preview stuff for the website, and then I have like the much bigger one.
Yeah.
And portable ones are pretty cool because like it's battery powered too. And sometimes if I really don't feel like setting up the screen, I'll literally just close the blinds and point it at the blinds.
I mean, works.
I know exactly, like especially if you
Yeah.
have white walls, like that works perfectly fine.
So most rented properties do anyway around here. But that's a good idea actually. Or just get like a big sheet, like a bed
Exactly.
sheet
As
or
long
something.
as it's tight enough. That's the
Yeah.
only problem with tension. Like I said, a wall works really good,
Yeah.
blinds work okay. The only problem is I don't know if you're like me, I'm a little obsessive compulsive, so it bothers me if the screen isn't 100% aligned. Like if it could be crooked really easily. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I spend most of the time trying to make it not crooked instead of actually watching anything.
No, I mean I'm not as bad with that, but my boyfriend would be, yeah, he'd be the same. Like there's in it's not a local cinema. It used to be a local cinema actually, but it was an independent one, and they had an aircon that was like right above the screen. And when it was on, it'd kind of like make a kind of trickly effect if the film was like had a white kind of scene going on essentially, and yeah, it drove him nuts. And he was like, "Oh, the aircon was on again." I was like, "I didn't even notice it." um,
Yeah, it definitely seems like something I would notice, just a little thing that would somehow distract me from
I
the
was,
movie.
yeah, that's yeah. Cinemas, it's one of those things that I need. If I don't know, it's more like noise around me that kind of disrupts me rather than little things like that.
So, is there anything you're looking forward to the rest of the year as far as movies go?
Oh, well, I think the big one, which probably comes at no surprise to everyone, is Star Wars, because I love Star Wars. And I surprisingly the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, I every time I see that trailer, I'm just like, oh my god! I keep saying like they should give out some awards for trailers because that is so good. What else is actually coming out? I don't know what else is coming out. I'm so bad at
That's
this.
okay. That just means you're not as obsessed like I am with release dates. So that's good. You have a life. I'm proud of you.
I think it's because like at the moment you've probably seen on Twitter and stuff, I've been so games focused at the moment. My film viewing, I mean, I'm trying to be better. I mean, to be fair, I've been to the cinema a lot more than I have in a while, but it's watching films at home. I'm not doing it as much as I used to actually. And again, I think it's because I just want to play games, or I get distracted or stuff like that. Yeah. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the year? Because you might jog my memory of something that I'm like, oh yeah, I actually am excited for that.
Like you were saying, Joker looks really great. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people are kind of down on it, but it feels very like 1970s, like Martin Scorsese to me,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
like Taxi Driver, like that. I'm
Yes. I was literally watching the trailer the other day. I was like, what does this remind me of? And yeah, now that you say it, yes.
because yeah, it has that main character that like it's a character study, but obviously you're not
Yeah.
necessarily supposed to like the character.
Mm.
But it's an interesting journey to see something through someone else's perspective. And I
Mm.
feel like a lot of people, especially like on film Twitter, seem to forget that just because the person is the protagonist doesn't mean they're the hero of the
Mm.
story. You could see something from someone else's perspective and at the same time still not agree with that.
Yeah, I think I personally really get a lot out of stories like that. I love villains anyway. And I mean, 'cause with Game of Thrones, actually, some of my favorite characters were the ones that, you're not necessarily meant to like, but they were my favorite characters because of their character. Not necessarily because I liked them as people, but because of how they were written and, stuff like that. And I think people forget that you can still appreciate that rather than being like, oh, I love this character. It's like, well, love how the character's written rather than what they're actually doing. So yeah.
Exactly. People seem to forget that you can have like a dividing line. Like I could like how a character is written in a story, but obviously if they existed in real life, I wouldn't like them as people.
Oh no, no.
And you know
It's
what I
just
mean? Like
reject
that's
telling, really.
yeah, and it's again that's okay. Like you could still admire, like you said, how a character is written, but then at the
Mm.
same time be like, I know they're a terrible person.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Kind of like a Did you ever watch Black Swan?
Yes, yes, I did.
It's like the characters in that aren't necessarily good people. Like Natalie
No.
Portman and Mila Kunis aren't good people, but it's a really interesting story to
Mm,
watch.
yeah. Well, it's like I guess, have you seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I am not a fan.
Aren't you? See, that kind of does it to the extreme where it presents these characters who you're obviously not meant to like, and they do terrible things, but it's more kind of, in how I view it, it's kind of showing you it's like you shouldn't really do this because these are terrible. But it does it in such an extreme way. But I can see how people don't like it because I think it took me a good few episodes for me to get into it, and I have to be in a very specific mood to watch it. Because sometimes if I'm feeling really down, I can't handle it. I'm just like, I can't deal with this today. Oh.
The funny thing is, like, I've never been a fan of Always Sunny, but
Mm.
a couple of the creators of that show and the actress who's on that show, they did the show. I don't know if you ever saw the Mick.
I've heard of it actually. I just never saw it, but I have heard of it.
And it's funny because, like, again, it's like some of the same creative people behind
Yeah.
Always Sunny, and it's the
Mm.
same actress, and it's definitely about terrible people. But for some reason, my family gravitated more toward that show than Always Sunny.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good show. It's only on for 2 seasons, sadly, but it was if you can find a way to watch,
Yeah. No, I will. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be somewhere.
yeah, definitely.
I'll find it.
Because I know apparently you guys don't have Hulu over there. I think it's only US and Canada.
No, we do not have Hulu, and I think eventually things get that are on Hulu get onto maybe Now TV. Um, do you have Now TV?
I've heard of it, but I don't think we have that over here.
No, because it's yeah, I think so. It's maybe kind of the kind of same thing, maybe, but because I think Handmaid's Tale, which I haven't seen yet, that was on. I think that was on Hulu for ages, and then it finally was on Now TV. But I need to get around to watching that. So, but yeah, Hulu has a lot of good things, and I'm always when you search for things to watch online, and it's always available on that, and I'm like, oh, can't get it over here.
Yeah, because it's funny because I feel like a lot of people are always down on Hulu. They're always like, "No, Netflix is amazing. Hulu, no, I'm not going to pay for Hulu." But I've actually been paying for Hulu longer than I've been paying for Netflix.
Well, it's kind of like that eternal debate of what streaming service do I want to pay for? Because I mean, it's quite a lot when you add it all up. Like, I mean, I only pay for Netflix at the moment, and I use my sister's Now TV, so we kind of like share. Like, our family just has our different accounts that we all share stuff with. So I think that works quite well. But if you want to like be, if you want to keep up with everything, then you've got to have so many different accounts and different things, and it's yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can only pay for 3 services at a time, and
Yeah.
so it's usually Netflix, Hulu, and then the third one has been something different for a bit. I had CBS All Access for a little while, but
Mm.
that had too many technical difficulties for me, not enough to watch.
Yeah.
And then I did DC Universe for a little bit, but again, that one had like there was a lot to watch on there. I really like DC Universe, but again, that
Yeah.
had so many technical difficulties. Like every time I started a video, within like 2 minutes, everything would just get pixelated for no reason.
Ugh, that's so annoying. It's not what you want.
Exactly. But right now I'm paying for the Criterion channel, which is very worth it. I think I'm gonna stick with
Yeah,
that one for a while.
I've similarly, I've been looking into maybe getting the BFI one, because that sounds like it could be quite good as well. It might make me watch more different things as well, because I find a lot of the time on the kind of main streaming services, you just get like kind of either blockbuster films, or I mean, Netflix is full of just ridiculousness. But sometimes I like that though. But I've been considering getting Shudder, the horror one, because I constantly have issues finding horror films that I really want to watch, or like ones that I haven't seen, or ones that are actually good. Because there's a lot of bad in horror, I will say. But I've just been really like, because I mean, it's not Halloween season either, so horror on streaming services at the moment is not great, which probably means I need to get a better like Blu-ray selection, really.
Yeah, I've been tempted to get Shutter as well because I don't know if you saw last week during Comic-Con they released a trailer. They're doing Creep Show the TV series.
No, I didn't see that. See, I'm so behind. I'm just I'm so behind on everything.
Well, I don't think a lot of people saw the trailer because I think that was the day the Cats trailer came out. So
Right.
yeah, so everyone just wanted, even including me, I was a part of the problem. Everyone just wanted to talk about how bad the Cats trailer was, and then I realized like somebody posted the Creepshow trailer. I'm like, wait, why aren't we talking about this? Why are we talking about Cats instead?
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean it looks
Cat
good.
that day, didn't it?
And so I mean I guess that's part of the problem with film Twitter because I do enjoy it. I mean, I've met wonderful people like
Yeah.
yourself on there. And but there just seems to be such a focus on, okay, what do I dislike over what do I like?
Yes, that is a thing. I mean, again with Twitter, I kind of have such a mixed bag because I follow a lot of gaming people as well. So I kind of the other day someone was like, "Oh, there's like drama in film Twitter." I was like, "Is there?" So I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm on the outskirts of kind of both, I guess, communities. So I don't really get into it as much, and I try not to. I really try not to look at more negative things because it just annoys me. was like, I don't want to see you hating on something that I love. Because like with Star Wars, like there's so much hate for The Last Jedi, and I personally loved it, but just I think it's more like how people say things. I was like, you could have said that nicer. But I mean, I will admit, I can sometimes, you know, say negative things about things. But I think I always try and, I don't know, I think there's a fine line between having a joke around and just being kind of mean. So I always try and be lighthearted about things, really. Uh, yeah.
I mean, exactly. Because I mean, again, no one's gonna like everything, and I
No,
understand there are gonna
exactly.
be things you won't like, but at the same time, it's different how you go about it. Like, I am not a very big fan of Rogue One. I didn't really like that one that much.
Mm.
But again, I said my piece and I'm done with it. Like, I don't think about that movie. People who don't like The Last Jedi will literally go on sites like
Uh,
IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and like Amazon Prime and aggressively downvote that movie just so it gets a lower star rating.
yeah, it baffles me. It's like maybe talk about things that you love, and it'll be nicer, and the world will be a better place. Well, Twitter will be a better place, but uh,
Exactly, because I don't know. It bothers me that there is that kind of high school mentality because that's kind of how I was in high school. Like when I first started getting into film, I think it was like junior or senior year in high school, and I first started watching movies differently, more with like a critical eye.
yeah,
And that was around the same time that the Twilight movies were coming out. And
yes,
I was in high school, so for some reason I thought it was important that I constantly complain about them.
yeah. I think I had such a U-turn because I remember when Twilight came out, and I got the book and I read it in a day. Um, at school, which was quite fun. So I was like reading it during uh, like my lunch break and stuff like that, and I loved it. Like I was completely like obsessed because naturally I was a 15-year-old girl, I think 15, 16 ish. Um, but yeah, like you said, like as soon as I kind of, I don't know if it was the internet that kind of, or just generally everyone around me was saying that it was rubbish when the film came out. So I kind of just felt like I needed to join in to sound cool, whereas in fact I actually loved it. Um, and yeah, looking back on it, I think we watched them all last year some point, and I was like, they're not bad. Like they're fine. They're just silly escapism. I actually watched a Lindsay Ellis video about Twilight and how she was like completely defending it, and I was like, yes, thank you, someone's saying it. But yeah, I'd happily read the books again, to be honest. Um, yeah.
Okay, that's kind of funny because I was actually going to bring up the same exact video right now because I do love how she does bring up a really valid point that people didn't just hate on the Twilight movies. Like it's a running thing that we seem for some reason in society to hate teenage girls.
Yes, that was the point that really resonated with me in that video, actually.
And it's like I understand that like they like different things than we do, but at the same time that doesn't mean those things are necessarily bad. They're just geared toward
Yeah.
a different audience.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's the same with it's like romantic comedies and stuff like that because typically and traditionally they're geared towards women, I guess, but they shouldn't be. But but people seem to look down on them as lesser than other things. And I mean, some of my favorite films are romantic comedies. Like Bridget Jones' Diary is an excellent film. I'm trying to think of another one now. When Harry Met Sally, also a great film. There's so many that are just so great, and I feel that so many people are missing out on some really, good films that are, just feel good just because they look down on it. And I'm like, well, you should watch more romantic comedies. That's what I say to everyone. Oh,
Exactly, because I realized that recently too. Like again when I was like a teenager, I was like, oh, I hate romantic comedies. That why do they make those? But now I'm looking back and maybe going back and watching a few of them and realizing that they're not bad movies. There's nothing wrong with them. Like I'm starting to really like them now, and I honestly am happy that this year we have had a little bit of a resurgence of romantic comedies. I mean,
Which
because
is what,
why not?
sorry, carry on.
No, I was just gonna say because why not? Like it's kind of a
Yeah,
genre that did die off in
yeah,
this past decade, so I'm more than okay with them coming back.
yeah. It's. I mean, there was which is the one with Seth Rogen that came out this year.
Oh,
That I have.
Long Shot.
Yes, that looks so good. I really want to see that. I haven't seen it yet.
I
But
haven't
that's
gone around to seeing that one either.
nah, it's one of those ones I was like, I can just wait for that to come out, surely. Because I kind of pick my cinema viewing based on what's going to be more visually stunning, and there's certain things that I kind of leave because I'm like, you know what, I can't afford it right now. I'll just get it on Blu-ray or whatever. Like Yesterday, the Beatles one. As much as I adore the Beatles so much, I kind of like the Lion King. I mean, I know I've seen the Lion King before, but this is probably going to be quite visually spectacular, and that's probably the only thing I'm going to be focusing on. And also, my boyfriend really wants to see it because he loves like visual stuff. He loves like VFX and stuff like that. So, um, but yeah, it's just we kind of pick and choose based on what's going to be the prettiest to look at on a big screen, really, which I think is fair.
No, that's understandable, especially because movies are so expensive nowadays. I think it's like $13 here for an evening showing.
Yeah, I think. Well, we I've got it's called Meerkat Movies over here. And it's on a Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, it's only once a week, but you can do it on a Tuesday or Wednesday. You get like 2 for 1 tickets. So um, we usually it's like £8 uh, per week for both of us, which is really good. But we only go on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So if it's something that we are desperate to see, then we'll pay like for both tickets. But we usually try to use the offer because it really adds up. Like I admire because I see so many people on film Twitter who go to everything that comes out, and I'm like, damn. So first of all, that must be so tiring. And also, it's just, yeah, it's like so much to see, and yeah, also snacks.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I always have to get popcorn every single time.
I mean, I am quite cheeky. I do. I get popcorn from Tesco's and put it in my backpack, which I probably shouldn't do, but I can't. Popcorn's so expensive. I think it's because I used to work at a cinema, and I know that the popcorn. I think there was like giant bags of it, and the manager was like, "Yeah, these only cost 50p for us to buy," and yeah, they're like selling them for about £4 for a tiny bag, and I just can't. Yeah, I can't buy popcorn at the cinema. I do occasionally buy. There's like these weird kind of barbecue crisp kind of things that I do spend my money on because you can't get them anywhere else. So I do support my cinema in that way. Because I know the inside scoop about popcorn. I just can't handle it.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, definitely working somewhere affects how you view it afterward for like the rest of your life. So that makes sense to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, even like the thing is, I always picked up after myself anywhere I go, anywhere. But like when I come out of a cinema and I'm just looking around at all the stuff that people have left on the floor, and I'm just like, you could have just picked it up and put it in the bin for the poor people who are going to have to pick it up after you. Because God, I remember the messes I used to have to clean up. Oof. I mean, I know it was part of my job, but still, I always try and help them out as much as possible because I mean the guys at the cinema that we go to are really nice anyway. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's understandable because I mean, yeah, even though it is a part of their job, you shouldn't have the tendency to create more work for someone else when it's like a simple thing that you can do.
exactly.
Um, that's definitely one of my pet peeves because I work at a
Yeah.
grocery store, and instead
Mm.
of taking their shopping carts out, people were more than happy to just leave their shopping carts in the lobby,
Ugh.
or sometimes even like in the checkout line when there's somebody behind them and they just walk away.
No.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, yeah, I know we can just grab the cards and take them out for them, but at the same time, I mean, it's more about courtesy, like, you what you're doing is you're creating more work for someone else, and I just
It's like, it doesn't take that much effort, is what I
exact
think,
and
you know?
it's just rude.
Yeah. It's like the amount, because I've worked in so many customer service jobs, the amount of things I've seen from the general public is just astounding, really.
Exactly. Okay, so we are gonna wrap up soon, but
Yeah.
before we do, I would love to give you a chance to tell people about your Patreon first.
Oh, well, I've never had to plug myself like this before. But yeah, essentially, I have a Patreon. I think it's just patreon.com/Siobhan of the Dead. I won't spell it out. It'll be linked somewhere. Like, but yeah, so it is essentially I'm using it to kind of fund my online magazine that I'm creating called Glitch. It is more of a gaming thing, but it's about mental health and gaming. I am actually looking at some point to incorporate film into it because I think that would be quite interesting. And I know a lot of people in the film community on Twitter who'd love to do that. So that could be something in the future, but it's very early days. But I'm also using it at the moment. This month I'm going to buy the entire James Bond collection to do video reviews of because I've never seen them. Well, I've seen 4 James Bond films. So yeah, essentially it's just kind of to support stuff like that I'm doing and hopefully make Glitch a success and yeah, let me do some really cool stuff for you guys. So yeah. I'm just trying to think what the tiers. Oh, I'm actually 3 patrons away from everyone getting a little crocheted whale. It's very cute. So yeah, if you're the next 3, then you'll get a whale, and then I'm sure there'll be another goal at some point. But yeah, there's crochet involved in this Patreon too. So yeah, that's all I've got to say about that.
Okay. Yeah, I will definitely put the link for that in the description in the YouTube description for this video. I am one of your patrons, so I am very excited to get a little crochet thing.
Yes. I need to ask you what color you want when I get to 10, because everyone's going to have a different color one, or like
I
one
will
color.
probably pick green. I'm just gonna let you know right now.
Green. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
We can discuss what tone of green later.
I just feel bad because I know you're gonna have to ship it overseas all the way to me. So
It's fine.
okay, because
I
I'm
live
just worried because the same thing with Lucy when she shipped her cards. I'm like, I don't know how much she's gonna have to pay in postage. I feel bad.
Nah, nah. Well, that's what, like, I am happy to do it because I'm so grateful for the support that you're giving me. So it's the least I can do, really. And I like giving things to people. I also find it fun to send things like overseas. It's like really exciting. I don't know why. I just don't get to do it that often.
Alrighty. So on that note, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your evening to be here.
No, that's fine. Thank you for having me. It's been really fun.
Okay.
I've never actually done this before, so it's been really, really awesome.
Okay, well, I'm glad. And so like I said, I'll link all your stuff in the description below. And I mean, for listeners out there, I hope the takeaway from this episode was even if something is made that you don't like a Twilight movie or a romantic comedy or something, it's okay if you don't complain about it because it took me a while to realize that even if I didn't like the Twilight movies, it didn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. And there was just no need whatsoever for me to put that negativity out into the universe.
I love that. Well said.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it took me way longer than it should have because I remember, like I said, I remember when they were re-released last year, and I really sat down and thought about them, and I'm like, why did I complain about these 10 years ago? There was no need for that. I would literally get into arguments with my sister because she liked them, and I'm just thinking back, I'm like, I was so dumb. I should have just let her like it. There was no need for me to be upset.
It's like, I mean, teenagers. That's all I'll
Exactly.
say.
Exactly.
We were
Okay.
all a teenager.
Alrighty, so I will just say goodbye to everybody now. Goodbye, and thank you for listening.